people, a lot of clients have been coming and referring, referred pain, referring family members and friends who are dealing with cancer. And cancer is not something that just appears suddenly. It is something that has been developing for a while. It could, be physically developing for a while, but of course, it's been manifesting and developing in the spiritual and in the mental far longer. And once it, manifests as, say, colon cancer or breast cancer or any type of cancer that people are coming with, throat cancer, they're dealing with an emotional issue that's now left the emotional, or not necessarily left the emotion, but now it's um, making its impact physically, because we get an opportunity to deal with the spiritual issues. We get an opportunity to deal with the mental issues, but if we don't deal with them, um, they don't go away. It's like the first law of thermodynamics. The first law of physics says that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So if it's not, um, so if it's always been and it's circulating and it's not dealt with, it has to go somewhere. And if you're carrying it around, you're carrying it around. If it's um, awful thoughts, anger, guilt, you're carrying that around, and eventually it's going to show its head.
Yeah. Yes, that spiritual manifestation. We often go with the Dr. Lay Africa thing, where we added a couple things too. That culture leads to beliefs, and beliefs lead to emotions, and then emotions turn into feelings. So how somebody feels is based off your emotion. Then after your feelings is your mood. So you know it's very important that we're dealing with that principle, with that origin of stuff. Remember, referred pain is basically where we really have a pain that's somewhere else in the body, or I'm sorry, we have a symptom of pain somewhere different in the body than where the actual centralized location is, as far as what we should actually be dealing in. And it's the same way, really dealing with the spiritual through the soul, even tying itself to the body. That the soul is what ties the spirit to the body, and soul, even in the Greek, psyche, Psyche. So the psychology of a person is affected by what's happening in the spirit. And once it happens in the psychology long enough, the synapses and things in the brain fire. You have certain things that happen in your pituitary gland just because you think different. Certain things that happen in I always messes up hypothalamus.
Mm-hmm.
The hypothalamus, reacts to certain things because of how you feel. We've talked about even the victory pose, where you could literally, if you're blind, it doesn't matter. You can be somebody who's never seen anybody put their hands in the air, but you put your hands in the air long enough, and you'll begin to feel better just because of what's happened. So you can make a conscious decision, and you can make a spiritual decision. You can have a psychology that even though my day is bad, I'll do something different. And just staying in that long enough will cause you emotionally to change to where now it starts now to go back the other way through the soul to the spirit, to say like, oh, we're going to take we're not going to suffer through this. We don't choose to go through this, at least not in this manner, at least not for this length of time. We'll see it, we'll deal with it, and then from there, you'll even see what they call the placebo effect, where you can actually give somebody something that just and tell them it's going to make them feel better. And even if it's not going to, right? Like, if they feel like it could have, obviously we don't want to use like a genetically modified thing and tell them it's going to be natural, but we could take something as far as like just a sugar pill people do, or
A
sometimes
placebo,
a
yeah.
placebo, and just literally say, okay, we're here, this will make you feel better. And because the person now has a physical, in the physical, they go back through the psyche to the spirit, and they say, okay, this will make me feel better. I'm going to get better. I got too much stuff to work on, I got too much to live for. You start changing your mindset, and
Exactly.
then you go right back through the soul to the physical, and you begin to see the body heal itself.
And that's a great point that you bring up. It's the mindset. You can be healed or become sick through your mindset. And so that's why a placebo works. A placebo is just a sugar pill as Pastor was saying, and it has, it shouldn't have any quote unquote positive effects on the body, but it's your mind that's making it so. So that proves that there is that mind body spirit connection where even though something that's being given to you physically isn't really um, doesn't really have much of an impact physically, but spiritually and mentally, you've put a belief, you put faith, and you have positive thoughts towards that placebo, and it makes it work. Another thing that I wanted to touch on that you brought up was cultural issues that we might be carrying around, and you see uh, you see a lot of traumatic issues coming up in our community, such as heart disease, sugar issues, diabetes, um, strokes. Those are all from trauma that our community has been carrying that have not been resolved, have been pushed on the carpet. Some families even have a culture of just silence. We don't deal with feelings. We just kind of uh, carry them around and soldier on. And our thoughts definitely are powerful, Minister Nais. Our thoughts are what fuels our body in a way. When someone's depressed, they feel tired, they feel unmotivated, lethargic, and there may not be anything that it may not have started off as anything physically wrong, but if someone keeps having those negative thoughts and emotions, those things are causing chemical reactions to happen in the body. They're causing your synapses in your brain to fire differently. And all of that is causing hormonal um, signals to be sent. All of those are causing electrical signals to be sent, and that energy has to go somewhere. And negative thoughts build up in the system as waste. And we have an immune system that's great, that will continue to try to soldier on and move that waste through our lymph system, um, and our lymph nodes. Our tonsils are one of our major lymph nodes that people have removed. Instead of dealing with what's going on internally, they'd rather cut at it than actually deal with and resolve the issue. But the issue doesn't go away. It's still there. That waste that is blocked, that's stuck in different organs and cells and tissues, is still there. It's changing even our DNA over time, and that's why someone could be dealing with the same type of issues that their community is dealing with, that their family is dealing with, that someone very close to them is dealing with, because it's actually changing your DNA, and it's being stored as DNA memory. It's being stored as a um, spiritual file, basically, for the next generation to deal with. If you don't deal with it while you're alive, trust that your daughter, your son, your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, somebody's going to have to deal with it. So you can't be well if you're not well in all three. And cancer oftentimes stems from a long held resentment. It's just something that's festering, that's something that's not moving, it's something that the person's being very stubborn about holding on to. And life is about flow. And when things don't flow, there becomes a backup. And so, in order to deal with cleansing out the system and restoring that flow, um, of course, we're going to need to deal with the spiritual aspect of it. Um, but since spirit, mind, and body all work together, you can start with the body, and you could use things like herbs to help support your journey to healing. And herbs also help not just physically but also spiritually. Um, Plants have been here far longer than us. We know that when Yah created created the earth, that he created plants before he created us. So plants are kind of in that way a teacher to us, a teacher to bring us back to our true nature. When we forget, the plants remember. And so there are many plants that are there to just help bring us back into harmony with nature, because oftentimes when we get in our own um, tumult and turmoil in our own heads, in our own spirits, in our own bodies, we forget to stop and smell the roses. As the saying goes, you don't look up, you don't look around, you don't realize what's happening all around you, and that life carries on. Life is beautiful, nature is beautiful. There is a flow, there's a rhythm that's happening, whether you acknowledge it or not. And oftentimes when we get sick, we're not acknowledging that rhythm. So some of the herbs and plants that can help us on that journey to cleansing the system are herbs that are great for our immune system, such as echinacea, golden seal, garlic. Garlic is an awesome herb that's kind of underappreciated. Of course, we're not just talking about the cooking of garlic, we're talking about medicinal doses of garlic, because there's a difference between just eating an herb for overall well-being and health and using an herb medicinally. The dosage is going to be a lot higher when you're actually dealing with a sickness than if you've maintained your health over time. There's going to be a huge difference in the way that you uh, approach your healing strategy. So another herb that I talk about a lot is burdock root, because burdock is going to be a great liver and kidney cleanser. And our liver and our kidneys help cleanse our bodies, help um, support the elimination of the waste that's been collected in our system. Um, Burdock is a great resilient herb and helps us in our own spiritual resiliency. Um, other others that I think are highly undervalued are dandelions. People take dandelions for granted. They try to kill them off as like weeds, and the irony of trying to kill off a medicinal herb with something that causes cancer. Roundup, all these herbicides that people spray on their lawns to have um, the facade of a beautiful, clean green lawn, is actually killing them. They put on this facade, and the facade is killing them. Those herbicides, like the Roundup, are actually carcinogens, so they cause cancer. The dandelion can cure the cancer, can fix the cancer, um, has the potential of healing the body, and the Roundup has the potential of killing the body, but it makes you look good in the meantime.
Well, even with that, once you're killing the dandelion, then once you kill it, they actually give you modified dandelion as medicine. A lot of the medicine that they give you to help with the effects of it is in fact dandelion. That's what even makes it more wild and crazy and sinister. It's like legit, like when you look up some of the things they'll give you when you say I have cancer because I've been taking this or whatever, they'll actually just give you what they told you to kill in the first place.
Right. They're gonna,
and it won't be the real thing, so you'll still have side effects, but
it'll be synthetic. It'll be synthetic, or they'll isolate, as we were talking about in Herbalism 1 last night at our class. Herbalism focuses on using the entire plant to bring overall well-being, whereas pharmaceuticals try to isolate. They try to pick one phytochemical component and either isolate it, pull it out to where it'll put the body into shock when you take it, or they try to synthesize, make a fake version of it that they can sell and make a profit off of, and they can patent, because you can't patent nature, but you can make a chemical compound that resembles it and has a similar effect on the body, and that you own. You can't own something that Yahweh created. You can own something that you've modified, though.
Mhm.
In this lawful system, legally, legally here on earth, that's something that is possible. But if you try to patent a natural compound, it's just not going to work. You can't patent something that's natural. That's something that you didn't make. Um, I see some questions about taking burdock. Um, there are many ways that you can take burdock, and it depends on what you're dealing with when you're taking the burdock. If you're just taking it for overall health, you can take it as a tea or a tincture, or you can even eat the burdock root. It comes out of the ground like a big carrot,
Mhm.
and a lot of like Korean food and Asian foods use it, and it's called gobo. Um, and Japanese dishes. So you can go and get yourself some burdock roots and actually eat them, and that will be the best overall for continued health. Or you can drink burdock root tea or a decoction. Really, a lot of times when we're drinking these teas, they're not going to support us as much as a better type of preparation. A root that gets hard like burdock, a dandelion root, it's hard to make a quote unquote tea out of it. You got to actually boil that sucker. You got to, boil it for at least 20 minutes to even get the benefit from it. So a tincture to me is the best way to take it because you extracted all of those plant compounds and they're very concentrated for you to just take a couple of drops of it and you can carry it on your pocket, your purse, and you have it instead of having to wait, 20-40 minutes or steeping the tea overnight to actually get the real benefit out of those herbs. But yeah, you can eat burdock, you can drink it as a tea, or you can take it as a tincture. And it's going to have incredible effects on the liver and the kidneys. It's going to have incredible effects for getting rid of heavy metals like mercury, cadmium, or lead, things that we don't need in our body. That in fact we need to get them out of our bodies because they cause neurological or brain issues over time.
Mhm. And even with the burdock, that like so many different things, and even just eating some of the stuff raw as well. But if you're gonna eat it straight up, you also have to make sure that your digestion. And I know my obviously knows this, but I'm just making it a point. I always recently, especially since I've been doing a lot more in this intermittent fasting, and even before that, trying to take a lot of things out of my diet that turn into sugar and different things. One of the things I've been realizing and getting better is that I still have to make sure that my body can digest. So a lot of people are in a situation where your body can't digest. Like if you're dehydrated, you're asking for your body to do something that's now extremely tough. It does it slower. Also, if you're dehydrated, you could be drinking water, but it's not. What's your alkaline level of the water? What's the alkaline level of your body? What about magnesium to make sure that the 360 or 350 some whatever it is enzymes to ensure that you can eat, because you don't just digest with your stomach, even though it's a huge part of it, but you digest with your whole body. Um, are you activating these things too as well? Like I used to always tell everybody until recently about turmeric, but like my wife corrected me. It was like, make sure you tell them to take black pepper with it too, because it doesn't activate. So like some of those things as well, just looking at that and thinking about where the body flows, where stuff functions. Because one thing we don't even think about is, I praise y'all for my wife and her teachings and stuff, because it's getting me to think different. Is you would just be like, oh yeah, take some turmeric, but then you got to activate it with black pepper. But also, like if I can control where whatever I'm eating goes by what I eat too, So like if I want something to go to a joint and I'm saying turmeric, maybe I want magnesium to go specifically to the joints or something like that. So I'll make sure that I have magnesium. I got to have black pepper to activate the turmeric, but the turmeric is going to make the magnesium flow to the joint, because that's what the turmeric not only does, but ultimately that's what my mindset is. So there's a lot of stuff that goes with it too when we talk about eating. As somebody asked earlier, one of the questions, what about your lifestyle? You know, your lifestyle, even in how you eat, is important. Like, where do you, just like with the spirit, where do you want the Most High to flow in your life? Be specific with it. You have to tell, you're telling, when you eat your food, you're actually telling your body what to do. So if you're telling your body to get rid of get rid of pain that's in your I don't know, let's say you're trying to get rid of pain that's in your kidney, something simple like whatever you're eating, to make sure that you deal with pain, then make sure that you deal with like kidney beans. That's something simple, right? Like, it looks like it just, I know there's many other things, of course, but something like that, that's simple, right? So I'm gonna tell whatever I'm taking for pain, I'm gonna eat that, but I'm also gonna eat it with kidney beans to say, hey, I want you to flow to the specific area of my body. So things like that, just your lifestyle. As somebody asked earlier about our lifestyles, does that have something to do with it? Yeah, even the way you eat, it's like sovereignty. When we teach sovereignty, all the stuff we teach pretty much the same way as far as this condition, which is like, if you're going to love yourself, no unconditional love, right? So all love has conditions, including how you love your body. So if you're going to feed your body, there's a condition, so if you eat this, realize that this is what the condition is that comes with it. So you have to even know what you're telling your body to do. You're not just eating just to get full. You're not just eating just to say I'm healthy. You're eating with purpose.
That's a great point. I see a question here from Concrete, saying, does cayenne pepper work the same as black pepper? Cayenne pepper and black pepper are in the same genus. They're similar family structure. Have similar compounds in them. They do work similarly. Black pepper is great for pain. Cayenne pepper is great for pain. They're both great for circulation. Cayenne pepper, or capsicum, which is the kind of active ingredient in pepper, is I'd say more concentrated in cayenne pepper, so you will have more of that circulation. You'll have you have that pungency, that spicy flavor of the cayenne pepper. Black pepper, if you use enough of it, is going to be spicy too. But people tout cayenne pepper for all those things because it just seems to uh, work faster in terms of you know pain relief, circulation. Um, Cayenne pepper is so great that if someone has a gunshot wound, you can actually stuff the pepper in the wound and make it stop bleeding on contact. You put enough of that pepper in that wound, it's going to stop bleeding. Um, but it'll also make circulation flow, so it does both actions. It'll stop bleeding and it'll start the bleeding. So if someone needs it, just like I said, the plants are kind of our teachers. They kind of put us in a harmonious state. If we take the black pepper and we have poor circulation, it's going to make the blood flow. If we have too much blood flow or internal bleeding, it'll make that stop as well. Cayenne pepper for a headache. You could take it for a headache. You may want something cooling for a headache, like mint, or say like a eucalyptus, or a lavender. You probably want to use something like that on your and just use it topically if you're having a headache right away. The smell of those aromatics, like the lavender, the mint, the eucalyptus, um, those will actually help with your headache. So you can put it on your temples, you can put it on your forehead, and I think those would work faster for a headache. And also, they wouldn't be painful to put on. Like, cayenne pepper actually burns on the external skin. Like, if you put it internally, cayenne pepper doesn't burn once it gets into. Um, it'll burn in your mouth, but it won't burn in your internal cells. Just like if you had the wound that needed to stop bleeding, the person wouldn't feel the heat from the pepper on their internal, like inside the wound. It would be on the outside that would burn. So putting cayenne pepper on your head or on your external skin will burn.
Yeah, amen. But as we've been saying, we are traveling, so I don't. So we have to cut today a little short, just like we had to do the live this rising. But we thank you guys, and we want to say thanks to the Honorable Maya for being on with us this month, and really always being there behind the scenes, getting so much stuff done. As you guys know, I don't know. Before we get ready to take our leave, is there anything you wanna say, or any not farewells, I don't know, but just for this month series, if you will, or whatever, anything you want to say before we get ready to take our leave?
I just hope it was helpful, and maybe we'll have some more sessions in the future like this.
Yeah, maybe we can even look at possibly, I don't know, giving you platform to just kind of post some stuff here or there as you see fit on here. Or something like that. Maybe look at that. Maybe you guys can listen to some of those things and we'll give you guys a hit. But we'll talk about it. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
But I'm always thankful. Of course, she has class. Of course, she has Bloom and Flourish products. Of course, she's willing to do consultations. So there's a lot of different ways you can obviously get in touch with her and be able to do some of those things. And even so, into some of the product if you're able to. And once again, you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree for those that need the extra oomph. She has many different tinctures that she was talking about earlier, or concentrated natural medicines that are there to work well for you, that work well over time. And we're excited about what she's doing. The tincture of the month, there's still a little bit of time left this month. So tincture of the month is still anxiety release, getting ready to go into, well, I don't know if officially I'm allowed to put up what the tincture of the month is next month or whatever. I know I've seen it, but we thank you guys. We honor you. We appreciate you. And please continue to support one another, love on one another. So we're getting ready to go into next week. By the way, next week is going to be the first Friday of the month. Just hit me. So every first Friday, we try to make sure we go out into the community and be a blessing to somebody. So keep that in mind. We thank you guys again for those who were part of the prayer service, the prayer and worship that we did yesterday. I was excited to see the prayers that were there, that were being released. Hopefully the family fast went well. I think we'll probably do some more stuff like that in the future. I know I was feeling better and more energized, and I am actually feeling better, even with some pain I was dealing with. My body definitely reacted different to it than it did before. I could feel some stuff burning around the stomach area, the stomach fat and all that. So I was excited about that. And some energy and some things that I had, even though I'm always busy, it wasn't busy being tired. It was busy and still being like, oh, I've still got energy left. So I'm thankful to you guys for that. But thank you all again. Once again, thank you to you, babe. I love you so much. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for healing people. And thank you for being so knowledgeable and being obedient to your calling. So we thank you guys. We appreciate you. And we're going to go ahead and get ready to close out, or I'm sorry, to take our leave rather. We'll see some of you guys very soon. For those of you who are Floridians out there, we'll make sure that we send you the links and everything. If you haven't gotten them yet, you will receive them very soon. So you can jump on the SOC meeting at 11. It'll be a shortish type meeting, but at least we can have everybody on there and talk some things through and introduce ourselves one to another. So that being said, thank you again. We appreciate you. We honor the King, Queen, each and every one of you. As always, this has been the Honorable Maya and myself, Kofi. We are over servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken, until we have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, just that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, in you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.
Beginning to end. God, who washed away my sin. God, it's clearly right there. Lord shows care for thou enemies. Signs everywhere. Stare into the righteous because of God. The Lord like us. Go as fast as you can. 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 Go as Go, as fast as you can. can. Go as fast as you can. Go as fast as you can. Go as fast as you can. Go.